And that leads us into Naz's scanner anomaly, um, which to me is really interesting because the information we found about hacking kind of contradicts what they're saying about the Legionnaire's hacking ability and what it's limited to.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go use the bathroom.
All right.
Take it away, Nazeris.
Yay! Hacking, one of my favorite subjects and one of my most anticipated gameplay loops. Okay. So before we go directly into hacking, Morier, the Chosen, said that the gameplay design is only applicable towards fighting NPCs, not players. Players will just self-destruct. Not according to what they'd like to get to with Death of the Spaceman. They don't want to be... basically, if you're blown to smithereens, that is a point where you just hard die. Because they have the regen stuff now. So that will have trauma. So they want to get to a point where whatever that trauma is, whatever is taken from you, let's go with Idris, that Idris is not coming back in an hour. It's not coming back in 5 hours. It's coming back in a month. Whatever the time it takes, and then it has to be shipped to wherever it is you told them to ship it to. And everything on it. You're going to need to have stocked kitchens, to have stocked armories, and the components, and the resources to keep the ship up and running, the fuel cost that it's going to take. There is much more game than is actually known or even finished being designed. So players will not be, if the design goes according to plan, because you'd say you're not talking current game but long term, they are designing the game in the future, in their long term, to be that self-destruct is basically a not option. Self-destruct you only do... Actually, I can't even think of a term or a reason why you would self-destruct. Even if you have an interior, if you have a final fight, you take that final fight instead of giving up. Because if you can repel the borders, if you're disabled, and you can repel the borders in FPS, then you'll take that so that you can have the minute to work on your ship to get the engines back online to get out. Just self-destructing and waiting for your Idris to pop up at the next, when the claim timer goes out, is not going to be an option. So, and by not an option, I mean the design as the reason they've been designing these features, and they will continue to press harder into this. They want the design to not give you that option. Not that anything they've said is specific, or it's the purpose of the design. That's the word I'm looking for. The purpose of the design is to make that not an option. And we don't have that yet. We're not incredibly close to it yet. We have persistence, server meshing, and Death of a Spaceman to go, and turns to go. We still need hacking. We still need this time to kill being adjusted. We have the dogfighting being adjusted. We have inventory stuff that still has yet to come online. There is dozens of things that has to come online still for the intended design to actually come to completion. Small rant over.
CIG has plans for all of these things.
Yes.
We don't know what the exact plans are. We can only infer from what they've told us that they have plans and that this is going to be a thing. You know, it's a, and I'm not going to pick on you. I'm not picking on you more. It's a flawed conclusion to assume that this isn't going to be a thing, and yet CIG is building a ship specifically for it.
And there will definitely be people that just like, no,
they're going to
backspace,
be
done.
Yeah.
Rage quit exists.
But CIG is going to heavily disincentivize self-destructing and committing suicide. And when you're talking about losing people, et cetera, people aren't going to die either. People are going to have the same, time to destroy, just as a ship will.
Yep.
The enhancements to the actor status and medical gameplay are going to come to a point where, somebody gets wounded on the way in, but it's going to be pretty hard to actually kill a person. I don't think people are going to do it, and I think that CIG can easily incentivize people um, to to board, or and to risk being boarded and everything.
And
Yeah,
as far as talking about gameplay, there or current game, there's it is almost impossible to talk current game with stuff that's not out yet, and with functions that are in design, not in the current game. Yes, people will choose to blow up their ship now. They also don't run with escorts like they should be doing. So people will do what people do, but it will be greatly discouraged.
Yeah, you're not going to want to regenerate. You have a limited number of lives, and even if you do regenerate, you're still going to have consequences. So, yeah.
All right.
It's all spelled out there, and that's why it's important to read all these things in order to be able to connect the dots for everything and how it all fits together.
Yes. So moving into the actual scanning anomaly, hacking ... question mark. It's not what was written. Actually, Tree wrote this entire thing for me. I'm just recollecting everything. Anyway, I did do like I did go over the research that I needed to, but I didn't write anything down. I'm just pulling from my brain. But I think ... question mark is pretty good. Anyway, so we were giving hacking. I actually don't know when they actually said hacking was going to be. It was a long time ago. I don't even know if it was as far back as 2012. But hacking has been kind of one of those things that I've always said was going to be in the game. Kind of like bounty hunting or cargo running. And the basic idea is hacking will give you access or control over something that you do not have outright control or access to. Pretty simple. So we have the Legionnaire, so kind of pulling off of our discussion, we have the Legionnaire in its hacking terminal, and we have some art from the original concept page where they are doing a hack on a ship. So that's kind of how we're transitioning slowly from the Legionnaire talk into hacking talk. So what exactly does hacking do? What can it do? And what are the gameplay associated with hacking? So much like with mining is a gameplay that miners will more or less enjoy. People who kind of enjoy the kind of gameplay that miners is for. They built mining for miners. For cargo running, they're building cargo running for cargo runners. Spreadsheets and all that. People who love that stuff will love cargo running. Bounty hunting, farming, whatever it is, they're building these loops for people who enjoy that sort of gameplay and that sort of fantasy. So they've said they're building hacking for people who want to hack. So originally in their, let me pull back up the notes, I didn't write down the day this video came out. I should have. Let's see if it can open without it being noisy. It cannot, because it doesn't want to. There we go. Alright, so the original video was June 2nd, 2021. Wow, that was actually pretty new. And that's the first, like, actual gameplay we got on hacking. And it came alongside, at least closely followed another image, and I just lost all of my windows. There we go. Being this one right here. Trying to do everything at once. And it was talked about, I believe we got the image first, and then he actually explained what it was. Which is a digital visualization of your hack. So you have to get in and do this little maze to either get to a control point or to find data. I don't know, they didn't say if it was you returned to start to actually extract the data, but you're getting through firewalls and things using this virtual maze. So it's a representation of your hack. And he said that would be on the visor. I believe they fixed that later and saying it's going to be in the mobiGlas. They want to do more stuff with the mobiGlas. So I'm not quite sure where all that is, if it's going to be visor or mobiGlas, but they do want to start using the mobiGlas a lot more. After that, I had an extreme fit, and I said I don't want to play Candy Crush in my visor. Degrading it a little bit, because I don't want platforming games as hacking. I've always wanted coding, some type of language, even if it was just like visual scripting, like block code, or like even just a click on node game, not a level, not a maze runner or platformer for hacking. If any of you know the hacking games from Sly Cooper, that's basically what they were explaining. But we did get and I'm going through the notes a bit quickly. I don't know why. They did refine what they said a bit later. So it was said that we are still getting that 3D representation. So that is what we're getting. However, it was also mentioned we are also getting a you got kicked from chat. No. I'm sorry about that. That we are also getting console commands. What form console commands? We don't know. He simply said there will be a console where you input commands. So we now have these two versions of hacking. We have the 3D representation and the console. They live together. So people who maybe don't necessarily do hacking that much or don't do it as well can use the 3D representation, but there will be definite benefits for having the console. And that fulfills my need. And a lot of people were saying just have both. That way plebs can also use hacking. And so that is what they're going to be doing. They are going to have the console and the maze to do that. So what is the gameplay associated with hacking? Or what are you trying to get at for hacking? So it was explained that you are running after a skeleton key, so basically a key to get into the servers or get access to what you're looking for. In the first version, it was explained that you are looking for parts of a password that will let you into whatever it is that you're looking for. So if you're hacking a data server, you're getting a password to access the data. If you're trying to open a door, you're getting the password to unlock the door. How that all works out, these two videos were pretty early in development, so we haven't heard a lot, though we'll be showing where it is on the progress tracker a little while later. So what can be done with it? Almost anything that has a command in the game. And by command, I mean a function that actually does something in the code that is written in CryEngine. So open door, shut off engines, any data point. These are all things that they can connect to. But the people who are working on it now, just the technical designers, engineers, are building a feature that can do all these things. It is up to the mission people and the gameplay designers and the vehicle teams to actually decide how this actually works in the game. What is currently going through now, as far as the information we have, is just them building the backbone and structure of how the hacking gameplay is going to actually work. So we don't have any you hack this terminal and it gives you these options to do these things. We don't have that yet, because that is all the last phase of it. It's actually connecting it into game systems. I keep hitting my mic and I'm sorry. So as far as difficulty, that will also scale with your ambitions, I guess it would be. If you're hacking a door on an outpost that nobody cares about, that nobody's been to, and that only a farmer has owned, it's probably not going to be that difficult. But if you're hacking into Bearing headquarters, it's going to be really difficult. It was mentioned that the size of the 3D visualization may lead into difficulty. Also, there will be a force going against you. He called it the antivirus for the 3D visualization that will be hunting you. I forget if he said haunting you or hunting you. But it will be there trying to remove you and make sure you do not complete your goal. As far as the console, they didn't say what gives the difficulty in that.
It really makes me think of Pac-Man.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
The little ghosts are following you around. You're trying to get the cherries. And
I
stuff.
really hope that I can just close the entire 3 visualization window and just work in the console. So we've seen a lot, and I actually don't have a lot of the images in front of me for the props that they've been working on with the little yellow boxes and the weird handled cards.
So that is in the show notes, and it's time stamped. Let's see. Yeah, actually, are you able to bring that up in our little window screen?
I can in a video.
Yeah, it's the YouTube link that's underneath the screenshot where it says utility docking override hacking override. It's that one. And it's time stamped right at where they start showing you the props.
Ooh.
For like but this is old, so I don't know how that's still gonna, if it's still the same, because the old
okay.
one was
I actually didn't see this one.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. Okay, yep.
So I don't know how so take it with a grain of salt, because they are, you, if you want to afterwards, you can pull up that
yeah, so this was super early visualizations of actually hacking, and there's your little visualization window in each of these screens. This was very old, so this has probably changed even with the evolution of it just to its second iteration that we've even heard. I guarantee that these everything basically about this has evolved. We also have another one that we'll show you in a minute after we get all these ones done.
Yeah, because now I thought they said that it was going to be wireless using the device, not you're not plugging. I think the cards will still be there for certain things, but
so how I currently understand it is you will use a hacking chip, and then it will beam the hack into your visor or mobiGlas. So these things can still work. I think what you're mentioning is it's not going to be played on the console itself. And you're right, I don't believe it is played on the console. I think that is just all placeholder visualization and UI, just because these guys are, I'm pretty sure this is from the props team, and they do not do UI, and they are not really, they don't need to keep up to date on the exact design. They just need to know you need a hacking terminal. Here's our ideas for a hacking terminal.
That hacking device sneak peek, it's how that plays into it that I'm confused about.
Yes. See, that's what I was questioning before. So that's that bit. So I'm gonna switch us over to the other image we have, and then this one. So I didn't actually check this. How do we know that this is an actual image of a hacking device? Did the sneak peek say hacking something rather?
Yeah, I'd have to. I forget which. I'd have to open up the newsletter because it's from, let's see, it's sneak peek from 2022. That's December 8th.
What's the title?
So, I have to pull up the actual sneak peek.
Okay, so you do that. So assuming this is a another device, it would probably be.
That's what it says. I don't have the email up anymore.
Yeah. That's fine. It would probably be just they're designing several inputs or ways to get in, and it makes sense that we'll have wireless and you have to interact with the console, because we also have ship hacking, which is kind of circling back around to the Legionnaire. And we have stuff like the Herald, the Sentinel, MSR, and now the Legionnaire that can all do hacking, or that will be able to do hacking. Or will any ship be able to do hacking? We don't really know. The gameplay has not been designed yet, as far as we know. They are much farther along, and Tier 1 will probably be only FPS hacking. In all honesty, it will probably be only FPS hacking for the first tier. I guess Tier 0 would be. But we have, like, it runs into data gameplay. It also runs into the resource gameplay and the resource management. I think the resource management is also being able to have fuses turn on lights that we saw a couple years ago. But as I said earlier, the functions that they have are not determined by the tech itself. That is determined by the people who implement it into whatever. So it is very possible that even though the ship concept team said that the Legionnaire can only hack to dock, when it's implemented, it could be better. Or you could use a server blade to make it better. Depending on how they implement it into the Legionnaire, into the Sentinel and the Herald and things, it is either going to be a general way or an upgradable way. So that way,
I think that makes a lot of sense because I don't know how to say the guy's name, but from the FPS content feature team, one of the guys who's designing hacking, the Legionnaire is probably going to come out next year, and they won't have ship hacking. He says eventually later down the line you're going to be able to hack someone's ship, and that leads us up into the PvP aspect of hacking. And he says, where's that quote?
Yeah, the only link I can find currently is the sneak peek on Reddit. Sorry, it's just labeled hacking tool.
But they did say that they want you to be able to hack somebody's ship and hack a ship's systems. But it's he says later down the line, and this video is from back in December. And so we're getting the tier 0 hacking is what's on the progress tracker. And like you said, it's just going to be FPS hacking with the hacking device and the little chips that we have now. Ship-based hacking. Even if the Legionnaire comes out next Invictus launch week, the hacking that it's going to have is not going to be ship-to-ship hacking. You're just going to be hacking a system that is already in game, and so it'll be a while before ship hacking will come in, and maybe at that point is when they could expand the abilities of the Legionnaire in order to do more. But when the Legionnaire comes out, that hacking ability isn't going to be in game yet.
Yeah,
we're not going to go from tier 0 hacking towards the end of this year or wherever it is. I forget what the screenshot says.
I'm about to bring it up.
Ship hacking in a year.
Yeah. Okay, so let's actually talk about where we actually are with hacking. So we've discussed kind of what they want it to be, what they've talked about, where the design of it kind of is vaguely. We don't have a lot of information on it, so we'll be probably doing lots of sit reps on this over the next quarter, next 2 months, actually, as this...
Part of the reason it makes for a great scanner now.
Yeah, no, we have lots of updates to still do on this. Just like talking about ships, though, which I guess we're going to start doing now. I don't know. So it is currently scheduled to finish its current slate of work. And that's not just by one team. That's all its current scheduled work. The end of July. What happens at the end of July? Tree, what happens at the end of July?
Well, so and the other thing that's interesting is the team that goes out to July is just the sandbox team.
There are two places that this could end up.
You're talking about the patches.
Yes.
317.2. I really we can't show both, but it's super convenient that hacking is wrapping up with the last of the work being finished, by the EU sandbox team. Right after they're finishing the work on lockable containers.
Yep.
And we're getting the Reclaimer derelicts.
Yep.
And other POIs.
And as always, every ship that comes out, every amount of content that comes out will be up to its gold standard when it comes out. So if there's hacking to be done, it's going to be in the new stuff.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if it isn't, and it's it's not, we always have to go back and say, do not use the progress tracker to estimate dates, blah blah blah. But when you see all the teams that have been working on hacking and how much work has been done,
Yeah, there's
and how
a
they haven't added anything,
there's a
you know,
little bit of a, I don't even, ritualistic way, not ritual, but nebulous way to read the roadmap to actually figure out when what is coming. So as I said, it could come in two ways. Either this is the work they need to get done, and all the prerequisites of having it into Star Citizen are already done, and this is in the code base. It comes out in 3.17.2. Or this is the initial implementation of it, and they still need to go over it, and it needs persistence. It will be in 3.18. Could it be in 4.0? Absolutely. We don't actually technically know if there's any implementation, or is this the implementation only in the squadron, and they haven't started the conversion over from squadron into Star Citizen. We don't know yet. There's a lot of information you gotta look at when reading the roadmap. You have to look at other features that went through their squadron back to Star Citizen, and there's not a lot of stuff that does that right now because hacking is such a big feature. When we start talking about transport missions or farming, we'll have a little bit more of an idea because we watched hacking mature and come out into this new cadence that they have for Squadron, then back into Star Citizen. So, reading it right now, there's a lot of stuff because they just kind of restructured where everything is. It could be done in July. We could get it at the end of July. It's perfectly feasible. The work is done, we get it. But we could get it Q1 next year, just because different things. Maybe there's something else that's being worked on that is in the code base that they're working on, but the feature's not done. It doesn't say that.
it'd be really great to have lockable containers, in the derelicts and everything.
Absolutely. And have to
as
actually
well
hack them.
as
Yeah.
yeah, but hack them, but not only hack those things, but have to hack doors, that still have power or something like that to get to them.
Yep.
It would just add a little bit more flavor to those derelicts versus just the platforming, and then grab container, open it up, now you have loot. So I'm very hopeful that it's a 3.17.2, but if not 3.17.2, it would be really great for the 3.18 patch. As far as new gameplay, that's a big gameplay.
Yeah,
loop.
and they already have
Good to
salvage
add.
bounty hunting. Well, maybe bounty hunting and
I
cargo.
think bounty hunting is going to be. I
4.0?
think bounty hunting is the reason they want to do a 3.19 patch.
Ah, okay. So you
I
think
think
it's
they want to add, a big new gameplay element, along with things like the new star map, that sort of stuff, to make it work with 3.19 in order to hold us over while they beat server meshing into submission
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah,
out the
because
door.
bounty hunting, it's sprint, not supposed to finish till October, so that makes sense that it being a
Mhm.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
just
makes
my
sense.
speculation.
Yep.
But yeah,
That does make sense. So that is kind of what we know. Everything we know on hacking as it is currently portrayed to us. As I said
Mhm.
like 50 times now, we don't have all the information. They've only shared very small glimpses of their design phase. They're almost done with it now. We have no idea functionally what the feature is. There's a lot of content that comes out from ISC and SCL and the monthly reports and things. This just wasn't one of them. So that's what we got.
and everything. We did a bunch of paraphrasing because there's a whole bunch of quotes that were really important from the sources, but everything is going to be in the show notes. So the links to the ISCs, the SCLs, the other
Yep.
things, it's all going to be in the show notes. If you just want to read all the quotes that we pulled from the different people who are working on these, it gives you a lot of really good context. But it's all in the show notes. And as we always say, if you know of other information that we didn't include or that we missed, please let us know.
Absolutely.
Send us a message on Discord, or leave a comment in the comments on the YouTube video. That way we can update this, because we will, as we're doing these updates for everything, If we come across new information, whether someone else shares it with us or we find it, we're going to add that in a later video to make sure everything's as accurate as possible.
Yep. And just so we're all clear, Tree basically wrote this entire episode, so I helped very little on this one. So kudos to him.
I had some time.
That is something I can't say I have a lot of. Even though
I normally don't, but this time and we had to delay this episode, so I got to get a lot of time.
Next week is all on me because I'm the guy who paraphrases the monthly reports.
Yep. Oh man, I haven't had a chance to crack those open.
I opened them like, yep, I gotta get back to work. So that's gonna be fun. Oh,